Hi, I'm Lindsay from Lindsay Elliott Coaching, and welcome to my channel if you're new here, and welcome back if you've watched some of my videos before. So I'm going to be recording today an Ask Me Anything question. So this has come from someone in my community, a lady called Belinda, who has asked the following question. So I stutter, and it sometimes gets so bad that I literally force my words out, giving them a squeaky sound. Sometimes it gets hard on my body and my head aches, but most importantly, I feel like I'm not living up to my potential because of this. I don't express myself the way I would like to. I'm often on the edge around people. Anytime I start to speak, I'm anxious about stuttering mid-sentence. I'd appreciate it if you could offer me any form of help. So I'm really glad that Belinda wrote in with this question, because I think not only is it useful for anybody who might have a stutter who might be listening, but also if you have something in your life, so in your external circumstance, or something in your health, or something in your work, just anything in your life that looks like it doesn't have, it's unlikely to change. So, sorry, something quite fixed that doesn't have the potential really for massive change. Now, we never know. Something can suddenly out of the blue absolutely change. But if it's something that you believe is not going to change, and this video is also going to be really helpful for you. Because what we want to point to is that the experience of the thing that is unlikely to change can and will and does still fluctuate all of the time. So I just also want to say up front that I don't have a stutter. So I don't know what this experience is like. I do have two people in my family very close to me, one who has had a stutter and one who still currently has a stutter. So I do know something about the experience, but this isn't an experience that I've had personally. So I just want to flag that really. So I'm not necessarily going to be talking about having a stutter. I'm going to be talking about the things that I think are universal for all of us around this. So the first piece of Belinda's question that I want to address is the not expressing herself, feeling on edge and feeling anxious. Now, I think this is something that absolutely every single human being at some point in their lives has experienced, and some people experience it really frequently. So that feeling of, I don't want to say the wrong thing. What will they think of me if I express this opinion? What about if I say something wrong and I upset them? What about if I give the wrong answer? What about if they're offended? What about if they don't like me anymore? We've all, or I better not say that because they might, have a go at me or be upset. We all have this experience in our lives of holding stuff back, of feeling anxious to speak and maybe not expressing ourselves fully. So whilst I appreciate that a stutter is going to definitely add to this experience, I think this is a pretty universal experience. So what we want to unpick here is seeing that in the moment when we are not expressing ourselves in the way that we want to, or as in Belinda's case, she's starting to feel anxious, obviously for the reason of, am I going to stutter? Is something going to come out in a squeaky sound? Am I not going to be able to express myself? But as I say, I think we all have this going on for us. I might not say the right word. I might stumble. I might, when I record videos, I have that. I think, oh, I might mumble up my words, and sometimes I do. So when we're in that beginning of the experience of what might happen, there's a lot going on in the mind. Okay, there's a lot going on. Often there's just loads of overthinking going on. So the places that the mind likes to go is, what will others think of me? So this is such a massive thing in so many different areas of our lives. But when we're talking about expressing ourselves, the what will others think of me question, which is something that Belinda absolutely has going on. So probably for her, it's what will others think of me if I stutter? But for us, it's what will others think of me if, and you can fill in the blank, X, Y, Z. So what's important to see here is that whilst sometimes we might get it right, that we know what other people are going to think, we often get it quite wrong. So when we are imagining what other people, so say we're about to say something and we're imagining the reaction that we will get, you want to catch on to that, because that imagination is absolutely just your mind. So the mind likes to jump into the future, play a little scene in its head of going, well, if I say that, then they might say that, and then they might be offended by this. And it's none of it is happening now. None of it is what is here and now. In the moment, there is a person experiencing some imagination in their minds, which is creating anxiety in the body about what might happen. And truly, unless we absolutely directly ask someone, we can never know what someone else is thinking. And often people will be thinking one thing and they'll say another. So we can't even trust what comes out of their minds. So we want to see the nature of that the mind will make up, I know what someone else is thinking, and that it's going to jump into the future and say, this is going to go wrong, they're going to think this. None of it is what is happening now. So we just want to start to see we can never know. We can never know the outcome when we express ourselves, when we're in conversation with someone, what is going to happen. Now, the mind loves to act like a crystal ball and will try to believe you in order to keep you safe and to stop you from feeling embarrassed or ashamed or someone being upset with you, which all looks very threatening to our minds and our personalities. The mind's going to try to stop you from saying what you need to say, or in Belinda's case, from expressing yourself, even with a stutter, because all of that looks quite dangerous. But none of it is, because all of it is happening in the experience of our own thinking. So what we really want to pull back and see is none of this is what is happening in life. All of it is happening in our minds, because our thinking 100% of the time is what is creating our reality right in front of us. And in this situation, it's creating a reality about what might happen. And anytime you hear that, anytime you notice this future-based thinking, you can safely ignore it, because truly we never know what's going to happen. So the next bit I'd like to move on to is the not living up to your potential piece. Now, this is quite a thing that kind of gets bandied around, I think, in our culture and in our society, that we should live up to our potential, that we should reach all of our goals, that we should be living our best life. One of my favourites, not. And that can create a lot of pressure, because what we've got over here, again, and this is all happening in the mind, over here we've got imagination about what I could be doing if I didn't have a stutter, what I could be doing if I didn't feel anxious about what other people thought of me, what I could be doing if I lost weight, what I could be doing if I was fitter. So all of that is here, again, in the mind, in the imagination, about potential. And potential inherently is in the future. It's not what is here now. So we just want to see we've got all of this made up potential, because like truly, what is potential? I mean, it is such a made up thing by lovely human minds and human brains, and everybody's potential to them is going to be completely different. So what I might think Belinda's potential is going to be completely different to what Belinda thinks it is. And Belinda might also notice, and you might notice, that what you think your potential is changes all the time anyway. And one day it might be this really amazing goal. Another day you might be feeling a bit insecure and it's like, well, no, I can't know, my potential's more down here. Anyway, I digress slightly. So we want to see that over here we have all of this potential being made up by the mind. Again, it's an imagination, it's a future story. And then over here we've got the experience then of the mind also coming in and saying, well, you're not reaching that because you've got a stutter, or you're not reaching that because you haven't sorted out your anxiety, or you're not reaching that because you should be more forthright at work, or you should lose that weight and then you'll be able to apply for that job. Then we've got all the dissatisfaction going on here. So the mind makes up the potential and makes it up is key here. It's not the truth of life, it's just one perception of it. And then it creates all of the dissatisfaction of not meeting it. So again, what we want to see is this is all really future based. And just to kind of take the pressure off as well of like, what does it even mean to meet our potential? But if there is something that you really feel, so particularly Belinda when you're listening to this, but also for anyone listening to this, if there is something you really feel that you want to achieve, then don't see it as like potential, but just see it as like, okay, I'd like to achieve that. And then have a look at what is the fear going on about achieving that, and just deal with that one fear, which is just going to be a belief, which again is your thought, is your mind making stuff up. A belief is just a thought we've thought over and over and over again. And have a look at that and see if you can just piece by piece look through the beliefs, which mean that eventually you'll reach whatever potential that you're meant to reach. So there's another 2 more points I want to make about this. a slightly more kind of pulled back version of this. And by pulled back, I mean maybe slightly more spiritual or bigger picture, more like universal picture, is also, what if there is no such thing as reaching your potential? What if whatever you are doing right now, whatever you are achieving right now, however your speech is showing up right now, is what is supposed to be happening, is what you're supposed to be achieving, is what you're supposed to be doing? Now, I know that to a brain and a mind that can seem a bit frustrating because it likes to always be achieving and setting goals and reaching our potential and impressing people. But what if the truth of life really is, in the moment, you are always achieving what you're supposed to be achieving, even if it's feeling anxious about speaking in front of a group of people, even if it is sitting down reading a book, even if it is doing nothing and staring out the window? What if we can trust that the energy that's flowing through us of life, living us, is absolutely going to make sure that we reach whatever potential we need to reach? So I'll just leave that there for you to ponder. I don't have, 100% answers about that. It's just how I see life working, that's really what's going on. And then also the last little piece about this is that also for Belinda and for all of us, is that maybe as you start to hopefully relax more, so maybe when you look at the first piece about the being anxious, the being on edge about expressing yourself, when you can see that your mind's innocently making that up and you can never really know what's going to happen and you never know what other people are thinking, and what if it's okay just to feel anxious and speak anyway? When you can start to see that, you might relax a bit more, and who knows then what your potential or what you can achieve and do might change, because the more that the system is relaxed, the better we can do. I think that's true in every single area of our lives. Pressure does not equal success. So the last little piece of this Ask Me Anything that I want to focus on is that I really want to encourage you, Belinda, and also anybody that, if you feel, as I say, that you feel that you have like a fixed thing in your life that looks like it's unlikely to change. So, for example, a chronic health condition, or being in a partnership that you really don't want to leave but you're not that happy in, or just some kind of nearly, because nothing's ever 100% fixed, but what's looking like almost fixed situation in your life, is that if you can really notice your experience of it, that even if overall your experience of it seems like it is one way, and it may well be. So for Belinda, mostly she might be quite frustrated and anxious and on edge about her stutter. If you really look in your experience and take some time to slow down and reflect a bit, whatever the thing is in your life that you wish was different but is unlikely to change, you will notice that your experience of it fluctuates. Very subtly sometimes, but it does fluctuate. So, for example, I have a fairly ongoing and chronic, it's not too bad, but back issue, and I've had digestive issues for like 2 decades, on and off. And what I notice is my experience of when my back flares up or when the digestive issues flare up can vary hugely. Sometimes I have the experience of, okay, it's here again, I'm a bit annoyed about that. That's a pain, it's a bit frustrating, all the way through to panic and, oh my God, it's here again. I've got that thing I need to do. I really need to sort this out this time. I need to find a physio. I need to go to the doctor, completely like a spectrum of experience. So I really want to encourage you to have a look at that, because the helpful thing to see about that is that it's our thinking about the thing that is creating our feelings and our experience. And that's why it can fluctuate. So the thing in our lives, the stutter, the digestive issues, the back problem, the bad relationship, is all inherently neutral. And by neutral, I mean it isn't either good or bad. It just is. And then we have a mind that creates an experience of it, a perception of it that fluctuates all the time. So as I say, even if you have an overriding feeling about something, there will be minute, subtle, and sometimes quite big differences in how you actually experience it. And that's so helpful to see, because if the thing is unlikely to change, you're still not stuck in one experience of it. You're going to have lots of different experiences of it. And that's a brilliant and beautiful part of the design, because even though we may still want that thing not to be there, it doesn't mean that we're fixed in an experience. So I hope that makes sense. So I hope this has been helpful, Belinda, and to anybody else who has watched this, thank you so much for watching. Do, if you want to, there's my email below. You can send me your own Ask Me Anything question. I will record a video answer for you like this. And if you have found this helpful, please do like the video, because it helps YouTube to pick this up and also helps me to know that this content is useful. And lastly, please do subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.